have usurped a muse.
We've seen some unusual genre combinations, but Stray Gods, the role-playing musical, immediately caught my eye for being a supernatural murder mystery visual novel musical. As far as I can tell, it's a one-of-a-kind video game, but an idea that we can only hope will become more common because of how boldly bonkers it is.
Justice won't be ignored.
I disagree.
There's a magical moment when characters, both mortals and the gods of Greek myth, burst into song and you can choose your response.
There has to be some way to find the truth. Aren't you gods?
Which impacts how your character feels, affects how other people respond, and even changes the lyrics of the tune you're helping create.
I'm not hiding, though a little lost here.
If you are lost, little girl.
Musical battles evolve to a whole new level when you can decide who sings and how they're expressing their emotions. Inevitably, the initial thrill of choice starts to wear off the more you play, and the story and characters' predictability make the overall experience fall a little flat. But even so, it has plenty of wonderful art and top-notch voice acting to keep you entertained through it all.
You'll have to see the chorus is in a chorus.
You play as Grace, voiced with moxie and flair by The Last of Us star Laura Bailey. She's a college dropout who finds herself in the wrong place at the wrong time and falsely accused of murdering a muse of the gods. Just as you'd hope for in a musical, which depends on every character being able to belt out a tune, the voice acting is rich across the board. Every line is voiced, often by recognizable talent. Bailey is joined by her Last of Us colleagues Troy Baker, Merle Dandridge, Ashley Johnson, as well as stars of the stage and screen like Felicia Day, Rahul Kohli, and Anthony Rapp.
And do help yourself to a cookie.
For such a fantastical story though, I was a bit underwhelmed by the overly safe interpretation of the characters. If you're going to explore Greek mythology, I want to see something new done with characters like Athena, Pan, and Persephone. I want to be enchanted by discovering new sides to these gods and to their established storylines. There are a few of these surprises here. Baker's Apollo, for instance, is far moodier than the way the god of the sun is usually portrayed.
I grieve Calliope's loss just as much as the rest of you, but I can't let you do this.
And I did enjoy his surfer bro backstory. But for the most part, this pantheon sticks a bit too comfortably close to the archetypes they're traditionally presented as. Part of that is due to the fact that a playthrough of Stray Gods takes about only 3 hours, so by necessity the writing, which was led by BioWare veteran David Gator, sacrifices character developments for plot acceleration, for the most part.
You hear that?
You can catch characters at a bar or party and briefly speak to them, but the overarching goal is always to find the murder suspect and clear your name.
I put a motion before the chorus. Do we allow Grace the right to prove her innocence?
The art, though, is absolutely fantastic. The hand-drawn characters look distinctive and vivid, bold lines and fashion choices that give them an extra layer of personality to match their writing and voice performances. The color schemes of the backdrops, whether it's a lair or a luxury apartment, are also a feast for the eyes. Maybe this is just a pet peeve, but it did bother me that the characters' lips don't move at all.
You have an amazing voice. I hope you know that.
And while that's fairly typical for a visual novel, most visual novels aren't musicals. At times, the characters have their mouths closed while their songs play, which serve to take me out of the illusion that they were really singing.
Grief from all the promises, too many dreams unsung.
To their credit, the varied camera angles do keep the flow of each scene going. While the murder mystery's true culprit was a little too obvious for my taste, and that never changes, there's potential for replayability in that Grace's dialogue options are guided by whether you've chosen to play her as clever, charismatic, or kick-ass, and that decision makes scenes play out very differently. A kick-ass Grace will aggressively shake down a suspect, whereas a clever Grace would reason with her adversaries and try to make them see logic. As a positive, the gameplay is extremely simple and accessible, to the point where it feels like an interactive TV special.
You mean no one has a choice but to sing along?
We all have a song in our hearts, Grace. You can make us sing, but the song will always be ours.
You're mostly looking around places for clues and deciding if you want to charm, interrogate, or sneak past other characters or obstacles. You can choose violence, or you can be more subtle. You select Grace's dialogue choices, and during tense song battles, these choices are timed, though it's still low stakes in that there are no real consequences if you fail to make a choice in time. It simply picks one for you.
Lost girls, you all love your lost girls.
I find myself replaying to see if I can date other characters. Usually you can, unrestricted by gender.
A lot's happened since I saw you last, Freddy. Like, A lot.
And to spend more time with characters I'd bypassed on the first run. And the only technical issues I ran into were occasional failures to save my progress. Even someone who has never picked up a video game before could, in theory, enjoy Stray Gods.
I'm so glad I found you. Wolves all around you.
Stray Gods' original songs could fit right into a Broadway show. Scored by acclaimed game composer Austin Wintory, they're lengthy and are aimed at giving us a sense of who these characters are as they contemplate mortality, reflect on the bitterness of the past, and vent their emotions. The very talented voice actors show off their impressive range and deliver heartfelt performances.
Are you implying that I had something to do with her death?
Prove you didn't.
It can get quite heavy, and I found myself wondering if these songs might reflect the feelings of some of my relatives who are nearing the end of their lives. However, they're written without much of a pop hook. As a result, they're not very catchy, but upon a second playthrough, recurring themes and character accents become more evident, and they certainly have their moments. At one point, Grace switches over to a Hamilton-like delivery, belting out insults against her opponents in a rap battle.
Testing 1, 2, testing 3. Is this thing on? Are you testing me with your coterie? Ogling expectantly. Heads up, wrecking me won't come for free.
At another, there's a quirky cover of I Put a Spell on You. A villain's soliloquy is appropriately devilish.
Is the world too much, or is it just me?
Everything I set upon unravels at my feet. Grace and the gods she gets to know have all been wronged in some way in their lives. Grace almost has to go around offering them free therapy to comfort them, which feels a little bleak, especially after a few hours.
This isn't a game to me. I'm not picking sides. My life is on the line.
On my first playthrough, I allowed every dialogue line to be read in full, and I found that the pacing of the story drags during some of the slower songs when characters ponder their lives and their decisions. You have to sit through those no matter what, but thankfully there's an option in the menu to make dialogue skippable if you'd like to make additional playthroughs a breeze. It's worth going through at least one more time because your choices have life and death consequences at 2 major plot points.
How the hell did you find me? This is the weirdest night I've ever had.
On a smaller scale, you're able to change lyrics of the songs the characters belt out, and even pick who gets a solo act versus a duet or group performance. You can also choose to make Grace someone who hogs the spotlight or someone who is fairly generous with her time. When I first discovered this, I really enjoyed seeing how the songs change, while sticking to an overall melody that still works.
Okay, I'll bite. What's your advice?
Stray Gods' musical murder mystery is definitely worth a playthrough or two. You can tell when playing it that it's been a labor of love from a team that appreciates musical theater, complete with unique artistic choices, crafted songs that shift based on your choices, and characters loaded with emotional angst. The gods are grappling with how they fit into the modern world and with life's traumas, just as many of us are. But the overall predictability of the story and of these well-known Greek myths limit how replayable Stray Gods ultimately feels.
And the singing is so hard to swallow. Can you hear me, Grace? What's going on?
For more, check out our reviews of The Expanse, a Telltale series, and Oxenfree 2, Lost Signals. And for everything else, stick with IGN.